Welcome. Open our meeting with a prayer from our chat.
Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to come to serve the citizens. We ask you now, dear Lord, to do that. Bless each of us here and use us to do your will. Keep us mindful, dear Lord, even though we celebrated Mother's Day this past weekend. Keep us mindful of what our mothers have done for us and how important they are in our family. Use us as counsel, dear Lord, to do everything that will be pleasing in your sight, not our will, but yours. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen. Freedom of information announcement. In accordance with the South Carolina Code of Laws, 1976 is amended. The Marion Star Mullins Enterprise has been notified of the date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Item 4 is an approval for our minutes of April 25th.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, the ayes have it. Like to recess our regular meeting and open a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, the ayes have it. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council, and those in attendance. We have 2 items for public hearing this morning. I'll start with item A. This is for ordinance 2024-05, an ordinance authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44, Code of Laws of 1976 as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax agreement by and between Marion County, South Carolina, and project known to the county as Project DIL, as sponsor and one or more sponsor affiliates, provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax incentives and certain special source revenue credits for the benefit of the project in the county and other matters related thereto. Have anyone in attendance that wishes to speak for or against this ordinance? Yes, sir. I will. Print your name on here.
Sir, we should have mics on.
Sabrina, is that microphone on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'll see.
Hopefully it won't take.
Hopefully it won't take that long. You can hear. My name is John Jameson, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am not necessarily speaking for or against this particular ordinance. I'm just gonna issue a word of caution. These solar farms are fine if they're additive to the grid. If they replace things in the grid, we have potential issues with that. And I just want to make sure that the county has taken into consideration the possible setbacks that can occur if you rely too much on these solar farms, because they are unreliable. They don't do much on a day like we have today. It's a perfect example. And we have a lot of days like this in South Carolina. Sometimes these projects are put forth as showing the maximum or projected benefit of a program like this. And often they don't meet expectations. If you have the memory of what happened in Texas a couple of years ago, when they had a cold snap that they didn't expect, they had major problems in their grid because they had relied too much on the solar and wind energy. And the cold broke down that system and a lot of people suffered. And if that kind of thing were to happen here, I mean, we don't get as cold a winter, but we do have a very poor county in many ways. And a lot of the residents in this county barely get by, even with our winters. And to have a problem with the electrical grid would be detrimental to a lot of them. So it's just a word of caution. My background is I have a degree in management and a lot of experience in data processing systems and analysis of looking at issues and problems. And I just have seen so many projects like this that we rush into and we do it and we turn it over to Duke and Dominion and they mislead us like other power companies around the country. And just be very, very careful about what you're doing. You don't want to have the citizens of this county have power problems in the middle of the winter because we rushed into what seems like a great Green New Deal type of thing that really hasn't been thought through, is more of an emotional process. So thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Attorney, I think all of our approvals have been added to.
Yes, sir. They have. Anyone wishing to speak before or against this ordinance before I close this one? All right, I'll move on to item B, ordinance 2024-06. An ordinance provide for an issuance and sale of not exceeding $2,500,000 general obligation bond in Marion County, South Carolina, to provide for the purposes for which the proceeds of said bond shall be expended, to provide for the payment of said bond and other matters related thereto. Anybody wishing to speak for or against that ordinance? Yes, sir.
Sign that.
No, I got you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I, again, am not necessarily going to make a comment for or against this particular bond measure. I just kind of personally object to bond measures in lieu of planning ahead for known issues. Looks like we're going to be upgrading some things that we should have been planning for and haven't. This would be a long-term thing. It's not something that would just have reared its head in the recent past, but instead of paying interest on a loan, we should be getting interest on savings. And it would seem to be a much better thing to be sure we're planning ahead and not having to borrow money to fill in gaps because we failed to plan. So I just am generally against this kind of handling of things and would urge you to be more forward thinking rather than being surprised when things come up and having to borrow money. There is the provision in here to take what isn't being spent and putting it aside to earn interest. You know, you're going to earn a little bit of interest to pay a whole lot more interest, and that isn't necessarily a positive thing. So it's just a caution and an urging to be a little more forward thinking in how you manage the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Anybody else? That will conclude our necessity of the public hearing this morning.
We need to go out of our public hearing back into our regular meeting.
So move. Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. The ayes have it. We're now back in our regular meeting. Resolutions,
I'm not aware of anything we have pending.
ordinances.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. We have a number of items on here today. Item A is still on hold, waiting on further activity on that one. So that will take us to item B. This is third reading of ordinance 2024-05, the one we just had public hearing on, an ordinance authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976 as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Marion County, South Carolina, and project known to the county as Project Deal, as sponsor and one or more sponsor affiliates, provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax incentive and certain special revenue credits for the benefit of the project and the county and other related matters. You've had a full copy of that ordinance since second reading, and you have in front of you the updated fee agreement for third reading. You take action on third reading, please.
So move. Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it, the motion carries.
Item C, third reading of ordinance 2024-06. We also just had a public hearing on this one. An ordinance to provide for the issuance and sale of not exceeding $2,500,000 general obligation bond in Marion County, South Carolina, to prescribe the purposes for which proceeds of said bond shall be expended, to provide for the payment of said bond and other matters relating thereto. You've had a full copy of that ordinance since second reading. We need to take action on third reading, please.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and got a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it.
Item D, second reading of ordinance 2024-07. An ordinance authorizing the county to lease the tillable acreage, 131 more or less acres on Marion County tax parcel number 055-00-00-008-000 to Jimmy B. Calder pursuant to the terms of the attached farm lease, to ratify the county administrator prior execution of the same and to authorize other matters related thereto. You have a full copy of that ordinance in front of you. We need to take action on second reading, please.
So move. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Chairman,
Mr. Floyd,
I didn't look up, how many years is this,
This
That's a 1 year.
any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it.
Item E, second reading of ordinance 2024-08. An ordinance authorizing the county to lease the tillable acreage, 118 acres more or less on Marion County tax parcel number 055-00-00-026-000 to Strickland Farms pursuant to the terms of the attached farm lease, to ratify the county administrator prior execution of the same and to authorize all of the matters related thereto. You have a full copy of that ordinance in front of you. You need to take action on second reading, please.
So move. Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it. Item number 9, committee reports. Ms. Davis, does committee number 1 have anything to report?
No, sir.
Committee number 2, Mr. Tenney.
Nothing at this time.
Number 10, legal update.
I don't have any in this section, Mr. Chairman, but I do have necessity of a contractual item to go over with you in executive session, which is already on the agenda.
All right. Item 11, Mr. Walter Fleming, Executive Director, PD Community Action Partnership.
Good morning,
Good morning.
the Chairman of County Council and County Council members and staff. We bring you greetings from PD Community Action Partnership. This is kind of different because normally when we approach a county council or city council, we're trying to ask for something. This is just for information purposes only, trying to bring you abreast of what's going on in the county and our activities in the county. I'll just start saying, during the COVID years, money was flowing pretty freely. We had a lot of resources out there, and I think last year, 2023, we spent about over $800,000 right here in Marion County, just assisting families with utility bills and rent and other necessities. At PD Community Action Partnership, we offer a number of programs. Probably our biggest program is Head Start, where we got children enrolled in Head Start from 0 to 4 years old. We bring them in, they have to meet the criteria, the poverty criteria. Everything we do is based on how much money you make, unfortunately. So to qualify for Head Start, you can only make 100% of the poverty guidelines. And those of y'all know that's not a whole lot of money. So we have centers we have 4 centers in Marion County. We keep babies over on Academy Street and Mullins. We've got some children over here at what we call the Maximilian Center over in the Housing Authority over at Springville, just west of town. That's our largest center. We've got traditional Head Start, 3 and 4 year olds over there. We're planning to put some babies over there, probably starting next school term. And we have a center over in Mullins called the Palmetto Center. We have an office here downtown where citizens come in that need help with utilities, rent, and other general household emergencies. To date, we have spent about $150,000 over there already. One of the things that we were faced with this year is since our resources have been greatly reduced, the first 3 months of a year, we spent almost a half a year's allocation for energy. That's because the need here in this county is so great. There's people that need assistance with utilities and rent. And in order to make the monies cover the whole year of 2024, we had to reduce the level of the award level. We're paying up to $1,500 to assist some families with utilities. Since then, we have reduced that to $500 per family. And that's in an effort to help us get through the rest of this year. So when people call, we don't have to, we don't, you know, people don't like to hear, I'm sorry, but we're out of funds. So right now we're assisting families. We just got an additional $150,000. Plus we've got some Western House settlement monies. Those of you who are familiar with that Western House settlement knows that we can only help co-op customers with that money, so those monies. We also operate another program here in Marion County called Strengthening Families, where we bring youth and their families into a setting, and we teach them family skills. Mr. Anita Bagwood here with me today. She is the manager of that program. Also have Miss Felicia Davis. She's here. She's the Marion County manager. We also help people with some medical bills. You know, if you come in and you can't buy your medicine, we had a water program, which was primarily a part of the COVID funding, but the water program has since expired and we have exhausted all our funds in the water program. There's been a number of complaints. We acknowledge the complaints here in Marion County. There's been complaints all over the state. One thing funding has done for us is kind of left us in a bad way, because at some point during COVID, we were coupling funds. We could help people with as much as $2,000 on their utility bills. Unfortunately, a lot of people thought this money would still be available. And believe it or not, some people have not paid their electric bill since we helped them the last time. So people are coming in with electric bills as much as $3,000. So you can see if we can only pay $500, that's a big disappointment when somebody comes in the door and expecting to get the whole bill paid. And that leaves some room for resentment and complaints. And we're trying to deal with those complaints. We have customer service surveys that are out now, which will give us some data on employees' dissatisfaction, and we're working towards resolving those problems. I don't know whether you've got any questions or not, but I'm here to maybe answer some questions if the council have any questions for us.
Just a comment. I appreciate what y'all do in Marion County. I've seen firsthand the help that y'all give to these people, and they're very deserving, and I appreciate what y'all do.
Thank you, sir. And on that note, let me say this. We operate in 3 counties, Florence, Marion, and Dillon counties. And Florence and Marion counties give us what we call county support. And we appreciate that money, because what that allows us to do, sometimes we may have a senior or somebody comes in our office and they don't meet any of the guidelines, but we can take that county money and kind of bridge the gap to kind of bring some support in for those households that don't quite qualify. Sometimes we've got get some unorthodox requests. Young mother trying to get to work, car is broken, and none of our programs cover those kind of requests. And because of what you do, the monetary awards for Marion County, it helps us to bridge those gaps. And thank you very much.
Dan?
Mr. Fleming, once the funding come in, how do you get the word out to people that the funding is in, come and apply?
Normally, the demand is so great, we really don't have to get the word out, but what we'll do, we'll post it in our office. We have been going on some radio stations on our webpage and our internet site. When I say internet, excuse me, our Facebook page and our website.
Some of the complaints I'm hearing is that they don't know when the fund's in. And then when they get word that's in, it's too late. You know, it's all out now.
Funds are available now, and Ms. Anita, please make a note of that. We'll make sure the word gets out. Anytime we have a new allocation, sometimes funds get real low. We request monies, additional money. Sometimes we get it and sometimes we don't. But we'll make sure the citizenry of this county knows that we've got funds available. Yes.
One of the major changes at PD Community Action includes the document that you all have. This strategic plan, which addressed some of the processes that have been in place over a period of time to include how we announce that funding is available, what that process is, what our voicemail states, to get some consistency to how funds are, how we serve the customers. We are well aware of the complaints. We want to also promote all of the persons that are receiving services, and again, look at addressing how we disperse funds, how it's being announced, who is being served, and any other processes that may be antiquated. We are looking at addressing those through this strategic plan.
So I think if once you get that in place, a lot of complaints will stop, because that's all I'm hearing is that.
Yes, sir.
Who all getting it is anyone getting it 2 or 3 times in a row and other person not getting it at all? That's what we're hearing. I'm hearing.
Yes, sir. We're trying to make an extra effort to make sure that we serve those people who has never been helped. You know, unfortunately, some people knows how the system work and they show up every time. And then there's others who are not aware. And we want to make sure that that word is out. Ms. Anita just mentioned our strategic plan. We've got a copy here, the strategic plan, and this is a part of our strategic plan, making sure that we address the county councils and city councils in the areas that we serve, and gathering feedback so our process can improve and we can do a better job at serving our clients.
Mr. Rogers.
Before I ask my questions, let me make sure that I express full disclosure. I recently applied for a position at PDCAP. I just want to make sure that's on the record before I ask my questions. So do the counties, is there a formula for how money is distributed between the 3 counties? Or is it a first come, first served basis?
No, sir. The allocation is based on the poor population of the counties. And when we get the allocation from the state office, it provides us with a county breakdown. So if I get, say, $800,000, it would specifically state that Marion County is entitled to 200,000. This is hypothetical now. Dillon County, 200,000, and Florence County, 800,000. So the allocation is predetermined whenever we get funding.
And how is that allocation usually? How is that breakdown usually between the three counties?
Normally Florence County gets probably twice as much money as Marion and Dillon County. Like I said, it's based on a poor population, and there may be a few $1,000s the difference between what Dillon County and Marion County will get, but the bulk of the money, say at least half of that allocation will be allocated towards for Florence County. But that's not a local decision for us. It's predetermined when we get the money.
Where is PDCAP? Councilman Tenney and I attended a meeting, I think about 4 or 5 months ago. OEO raised some issues about deficiencies. Where is PDCAP at in addressing those deficiencies?
We've answered all the questions, all the issues pertaining to that report. And as it stands now, these problems have been, for the most part, resolved. We're still waiting to hear back from them, and we haven't heard anything yet.
We also have a self-assessment tool that we are working on to date that lists all of the IM 82 CSBG organizational standards that the Office of Economic Opportunity comes to measure our success. We are in the process of completing a self-assessment so that when we are audited, we are abreast and moving forward with meeting all of those standards.
Thank you. Is PDCAP actively trying or has plans to try to get the weatherization program back? We had a gentleman come in from, I think, Walkmore. No, it's from Walkmore, who expressed that citizens in our area could apply through their weatherization program to get funding, their community action agency. But he pretty much expressed that it would be what was left over from their citizens that they serve, the money that's left over, then people from this area could apply for the remaining funds. And I know in the lower end of the county where I'm from, there are a lot of elderly people who are still living in these tongue and groove board houses with no insulation, windows that they built themselves, and they need their homes weatherized. And so my question is PDCAP going to try to get that program back, or is that something that PDCAP will no longer be able to provide that service?
No, sir. Well, there's no immediate plans to try to get it back. During President Obama's administration, there was some extra money out there for weatherization, and we did operate a temporary program. But right now, I believe there's only like 5 agencies in the state that operate weatherizations programs. And the reason for that is because of lack of funding. There's not enough money for all community action agencies to be involved in weatherization. So in Marion County, Waccamaw has this area in Marion County. Florence County is weatherized by not PD, Water Community Action Agency. And what we do is we make referrals to those CAAs that operate the weatherization programs.
Anybody else got a question? Thank you for coming this morning.
And we'd like to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. And we apologize, but we're on a tight schedule today, and if we can be excused, we would be appreciated. Thank you.
Item 12, administrative update.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council, those of you who are in attendance. Just want to have a few updates and follow-ups that I would like to give council. Last meeting, there were a few questions asked, and I just want to address those questions if I may. Mr. Rogers, you asked about a rental agreement between the coroner and the county. And I wanted to clarify to let you know that currently there is, the space that he uses is his own space. We provide a regular budget, but with supplies and transport, but there is no rental, through the coroner. Also, Mr. Rogers, you had asked and made some comments about the pothole that's at the Southfold Center. And that is the entrance to where some of our voters go, not the front entrance where the healthcare center is, but the back entrance. I did have Public Works to take that picture so we could have a visual of what that looked like. What they did was fill that hole. However, that parking lot needs to be repaved. And so that is a different process that the county doesn't do, but we can contract that out. And I want to pass that picture around just so you know exactly what we did so that there's no hole there for anybody to trip or fall. So again, the parking lot there does need to be paved, but that is a separate process that will not be county employees. We will have to get that contracted out. Also, you asked about the windows at the Southfold Center. Those windows have been ordered and should be in place. We did get a little bit of insurance money for those windows, but we did have to purchase the majority of those windows. So we will be putting those windows in place. They've already been ordered and those will be in place. The fourth thing that you asked about was the clerk of court and the civil files. They are actually electronic files as of 2015, just the civil files. The general session files have never gone over to the courthouse. But if a file is needed, the solicitor or the clerk will retrieve that file, or the deputy will retrieve that file. There has never been a case that the current clerk of court is aware of that they have not had a file present when needed. So they do have a process that they will continue, whether they were across the street or now down the street. But since saying that, they will have, and all of you are invited as well as the citizens, Marion County Clerk of Court invites you to join them for their new building drop-in. And that will be this Friday, May 17th from 2 to 4 p.m. And that address is 1305 North Main Street in Marion. And that's again, 2 to 5, just drop in and see the setup for the new clerk of court building. And I'll email everybody that information. There will also, there were some street signs you asked about for the Gresham area. I have given those, that list that you gave to our building department, Mr. Rogers here. So that will be on the list, but we also, in doing that, have determined in Nichols, we were having a similar issue. Ms. Sandy Rogers, who is the town administrator in Nichols, wanted to present this letter, and I'll read it to you. Recently, the town of Nichols has been working with Mr. Jonathan Rogers, the Marion County Planning and Zoning Director, regarding incorrect addresses within the town. Several years ago, we were approached by Planning and Zoning saying that it was imperative that all addresses in the county needed to be updated for the 911 system used throughout Marion County. At the time, we worked toward the goal getting all addresses up to date, but oddly, communications with the county ceased and the job was not completed. Now, with the help of Mr. Rogers, we are making much progress towards correcting incorrect addresses within Nichols. We understand the importance of this, as an incorrect address could easily delay a response time by any of our first responders. So again, to any and all it may concern, we appreciate the newfound determination that is making it a task to find life again. And also thank the county and Mr. Rogers for patiently making this happen. So we also had issues in Nichols, the same issues that we had in Gresham with addresses, but we are working to get those corrected as we speak. Lastly, I wanted to just give you an update on our CTC award. Our most recent award is $25,000 was allocated for road project CPCN. This project is to purchase milled asphalt to be placed on dirt roads, specifically Jason Wesley Court and Ginger Road. Those are all the updates that I have for now.
What were those roads?
These are Jason Court, Wesley Court, and Ginger Road.
How were those roads selected?
Well, we're doing a backlog of roads that haven't been done. And so when CTC awards it, it's specific to the different roads that we request. So these may have been put in last year. And so when the funds become available, they are assigned to these specific roads. There are other funds that we've already put in, and as they become available, I let you all know.
Mr. Floyd.
Yeah, when these are decided by the county or the cities, who appeals for these roads?
These are citizens that call in to say that these roads, or councilmen call and say that these roads are bad, so we determine which roads, based on the housing, how many houses are on the roads, how bad the roads are. But specifically this one, name the
I'm
road.
not going by the.
Okay, just in general.
In general,
Mhm.
we request, the cities request, I guess.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
then they allocate it depending on what they decide.
And sometimes it's not specific. We've had awards, probably, it's been a couple months. We've had awards that were just for the actual materials that the CTC provides, and we put those materials on those roads.
So do we have a record of, somebody 5 years ago request or a councilman request 5 years ago? of roads getting paid? How do we keep up with the?
We are creating records. We have not had records in the past, but we are creating a record and a ledger, working with the CTC to have, I guess, a footprint of what we've done and what needs to be done. But to answer your question specifically, there was no record prior to, but we are creating records now.
How far along we out for the, having that established?
Having it done, I don't have a timeline on it to say how long.
Mr. Rogers. Sir.
Mr. Chairman, I think that all roads supposed to have easements for the county to
Yes,
put the
sir.
millings on, so everyone in the road's got easements on the whole road.
Well, we're working with easements to make sure that we have easements on the roads that we can put milling on. So
Fair
we
enough.
can't put milling on a road that we don't have an easement.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Question about that. So we're gonna look at roads that have had easements that are older than, that predate or more recent easements?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We actually have somebody, I've appointed someone specifically, Mr. Wes Pittman here, who's my operations manager. He is also working on easements as his specific role.
Is he mailing the easements or are you going to talk to these people?
Both.
Oh.
They do both.
But we, we do have prescriptive easement
We do
on.
on
for
some of the
purpose
roads.
Taking care of the roads.
Yes, sir. We do. That's all I have.
I have a follow-up question.
Mr. Rogers.
In terms of, I'm real concerned about all of our county records, the coroner's records. Where are they?
In his office, as far as the records of the deceased.
Just all of the coroner's records. Those are county property. So if somebody wanted to go review the records, for your request or whatnot, what's the process for being able to look at those records? Because they're not in a county facility.
We'll work with the coroner to provide that information, and I've not had an issue with him not being able to provide information.
Anything else?
One question. Has he got, what kind of file cabinet? You know why I'm asking? These records are, there should be some kind of file proof. Something that would ensure we wouldn't lose them.
Well, we provide the supplies that he needs for our records. If he needs an updated file cabinet, he lets us know. If he needs an updated office supplies, copy, those are the things that he will let the county know and we provide to him as needed.
All right, requests and comments by members of council.
Chairman.
Mr. Gilbert.
First, I'd like to thank y'all for roads and bridges. They've done a couple of dirt roads outside of Nichols. They look real good. The citizens are very happy with the work that was done by Dal Black and Mr. Maurice Rao. And I want to thank y'all for that. Also, I would like to request a resolution for Xavier Leggett, who was drafted by the Carolina Panthers in the first round from Marion County. His father is from Marion, his mother is from Mullins. And he went to Mullins High School. So I would like to request that as well.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Maybe he'll bring some of that money back and spend it in Marion County.
Let's go with it.
I have,
Oscar.
Mr. Administrator, over this past weekend, I've been talking with the mayor of Seller. To see if it's possible that, on the road and bridge downtime or when they don't have too much going on, that, the county would help clear the community center and Seller. So they've already been out, working in that area. They've done a wonderful job. It's too wet for them to continue right now, but it's been requested that I ask that if the county could help clear the rest of the property.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have spoken with the mayor of Sellers. And like you just said, the issue that we have been running into is that property is very wet or holds a lot of water. So our equipment isn't able to get down to the, where the pile that we did clean up to that area until it's completely dry. And once it is completely dry, we will make sure that that area is cleaned up.
Not talking about the pile.
Okay.
He has a vision of cleaning the rest
Of the,
property.
okay,
Lands.
gotcha.
Sad.
We can put it on our list.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we need to go in executive session for personnel and contractual matters.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. The ayes have it. We'll go into executive session.